Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have you join us today. If you enjoy, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's video, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our future content. We're building an awesome community here, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Rio says, "When you're a part of a group, the first impression is extremely important. I must imprint the image of my power on their minds." Then also says, "To avoid being swarmed by pesky flies, I need to show how strong I am right here and now. And most importantly, I gotta become the objects of her attention. That calls for a bit of a performance. The goblins attacked him, and with one blow he finished them off, which surprised the participants. Then they said, 'Did you all see that? Who on earth is he? He looks like a special agent or something. Black Scythe. His nickname is awesome too.' And for a moment they are encouraged, and they says, 'Goblins? Aren't they the weakest mobs in the game? We can probably eliminate them too, even if we're not like that Black Scythe guy. Once we engage in combat, I bet they won't be a big.' Before he could finish his words, one of the goblins stabbed him, which frightened them, and they start running. Then Rio says, 'At this point, no one will mistake this for a game anymore. Right now, there's only one thought on people's mind: survival.' And he kept saying, 'The instinct to survival will dominate their head, and they'll be busy running with no sense of direction.' Then he says silently, 'I made the same mistake the first time. Only after dying twice did I realize that there was no escape from these dimensions. Besides, there's no way that modern people who've never hunted even a small animal could kill a goblin. However, in order to survive in this game, they have to overcome that limitation. While the monsters chasing the players were beating them with clubs and hacking them to death with knives, the angel was laughing gloatingly and saying, 'This fight between humans and goblins is so amazing. They may be the size of kid, but you don't stand a chance against a whole swear of them, especially if they're armed with daggers.' But Ryu caught the angel's attention, and she said, 'What's the deal with him? He's only a Yankee arrived in the dimension, and already he can't take down monsters with such ease.' After that, she's opening his quest progress. The angel saw the nickname Black Scythe, and she said, 'What a shitty system. I can't believe it's blocking all player info except quest progress.' Anyhow, although guiding those mere mortals hurts my pride as a noble being, some of them are peculiar, so watching them is unexpected interesting. For defeating one goblin, the system gives players 4% experience and 10 gold coin. After killing another goblin, Rio increased his level. By this time he had already managed to defeat 74 goblins. When the system reported all this to Rio, his battle with the goblin was in full swing. Many armed enemies turned to attack Rio, but it was not a problem for him, as that Black Scythe had enough lightning-fast lunges to deal with all monsters that attacked him. Rio stopped and twirled the digger. After seeing one of the goblins Rio slaughtering all his comrades, he frozen in place and decided to quick escape. But not even after a second, Rio caught the goblin and mercilessly stabbed him in the face with a digger and pinned him to the ground. Realized his hand and looked coldly at the rest of the enemies and said, 'Stannowing black!' Rio got to his feet and looked at the terrified goblins as he wiped the blood from his face and said, 'I guess I can take a breath.' Rio immediately called up the status window and looked at his stats he managed to raise to level 4 in a very short time. Rio said, 'I advanced to level 4 at some point. All points in agility, nothing's more important than agility in the beginning. This speed of a progress should be enough to draw the angel's attention. So how about I put an end to this?' Rio immediately threw his knife at the goblin and said, 'Aren't you gonna come to me?' The older goblins become wary but didn't dare attack. Ryu sighed in disappointment. Then he said, 'If you won't come, I'll get you myself.' Then he eliminated them all. Ryu leveled up and completed the first round's mission and said, 'The first round was an easy pass. Sure, I went after a goblins like crazy to catch the angel's attention.' Before he finished speaking, the system window appeared saying, 'Congratulations! You have achieved rank 1 and completing the quest across all the zones. Ryu said, I also did that to achieve rank 1. You completed the first round in 10 minutes and 21 seconds, which is not surprising, even though Ryo has already taken first place in this stage survival times. Completing tasks in the top 3 is the most profitable, because rewards are distributed depending on the place taken. In addition, prizes are awarded depending on the ranking in the region and the world, and this time the Ryo received a ticket for a low-railed rare sword for ranking first in his region, but for excelling in the world, rankings Ryo was awarded with a chest with the possibility of choosing a special prize. First, Ryo decided to use a weapon ticket that was dropped as a reward in his area. Once the item Ryo picked up in his inventory, the system allowed him to choose one of the 3 weapons presented, and he said, It's a shame, but I'm just thankful to have this in the beginning. Ryu clicked the weapon he liked. So this garbage in the from of Goblin Bone Knife, Ryu will not need it anymore. And he kept the All Zones special reward selection box for later than he closed inventory, while there was pure chaos going on around him. While Ryo, inside the impenetrable barrier, summoned the status window and carefully looked at his stats and skills. Ryo said, Come to think of it, there's a title I received earlier that I've never seen in my past 99 tries. A few moments before the battle began, Ryu took out a rune from his inventory and tried to use it Ryo like the previous times. Then Ryo said, The results are kinda obvious. After all, a new imprint would mean I could regress infinitely. But unexpectedly, the system informed him that the remnants of the rune attitude and your soul have confirmed that this is your 100th regression, and he earned it the title of Time Traveler. In this game, titles are superordinate concepts of rune, and accordingly, the harder they are to obtain, the better their effects are. Furthermore, resurrection only exists as the priest's skill, and even that only up to 30% of your health. He continued saying, I should keep something like this hidden. Then he said, People who finished the quest should be coming out about now. I wonder how Ryu Min is doing. He looked around and said, There he is. Looks like he'll survive this time too. While the other players were finishing the mission one by one, the angel then looks at the remaining humans with a creepy smile and says, I was wondering why it was getting boring to watch. Your number is decreasing to be more equal to the number of goblins. Sorry, it's my mistake. The angel flapped her wings and said, Then should I make it more fun? Holding her dead friend in her arms, the golden-haired girl looked at the angel doomful and asked in fear what kind of fun she was talking about. At the moment, the corpse of the man in her arms began to disintegrate. The corpses of all the creatures on the battlefield began to disappear. After that, they heard a loud sound accompanied by a bright beam, and in the same second, many monsters appeared, making the players frightening. Then the angel said, I gave you a free 50,000 refill for you. That should be enough. After mocking the human holding daggers from the ground in their hands, the players pounced on the goblins. It's difficult to describe what happened to the next battlefield in the word. Meanwhile, when the number of players who had already completed the mission reached 2,129, Ryo continued to sit and wait humbly. But even those who were able to complete this incredible difficult challenge couldn't find peace. Many had many friends and relatives on the battlefield, and they were killed in front of those people right before their eyes. The number of people who had completed the quest had already reached 533. And suddenly, in an instant, the battle fell silent. The limit of player able complete the quest has been reached. In the same time, all of the goblins disappeared, leaving the people who hadn't passed on bewildered. The angel said, Now half have passed. That means the quest is complete. She also said, I'm sorry about the rest will have to die. Those are the rules of the game. At the same time, players who hadn't completed the quest began to disappear, while they begged for mercy from the angel. The angel said to players who passed, What's with your faces? Shouldn't you be happy to be alive? Whatever you have all survived, you might return now. Congratulations on passing the first round survivors. I hope you'll be better in the second round. Should we see the details results before leaving then? After that, the angel offered players a look at the detailed totals before leaving. Black Scythe has taken first place in all regions, including this region. All ranking rewards have already been distributed, and success rewards will soon be in the player's inventory. They received 1,000 gold for completing the quest. You can buy items with gold, but access to the store will only be available when you reach the 10th level of your character. Noticed everyone looking at him and said, "I guess everyone knows I am in the first place now." After that, the angel said, "For someone in my area to be first place in all areas, how impressively." She said too, "Black Scythe? Answer me." Ryu replied, "Yes," and she said, "How can you be so strong? Did you obtain some special rune?" Then she suddenly stopped talking, which made her nervous, and realized that she had said something unnecessary by mistake. Ryo looked at her and said, "Can't you tell what runes I have from my stat window?" She said, "Of course I know all that. I am an angel, I know that, I was just asking." Ryo arrogantly looked at Angel and just smiled at her. He knew very well that she had no idea about the nature of his power. Suddenly, Ryo asked and said, "Angel, could I ask you for a favor?" The angel looking at him perplexed, and she asked, "A favor?" Then Ryo said, "I think the rewards for getting first place are a bit too stingy," Ryo smugly remarked, looking up at the angel from below. The players were surprised at this strange guy's brash behavior. The angel responded angrily, "What did you just say?" Then Ryo said, "I would like a better reward. I don't like what I got." There was silence for a while. Then the angels say silently, "Did this human son of bitch just demand something from me? I kept a close eye on him because he did well from the start. But is he understanding me because he killed some goblins? I will blow your—" She stopped and said, "Damn it. I already used that authority. Arrogant little bastard, I can't even tell him." But wonderful idea had occurred to her, and she said to him, "So you want a better reward? Usually I request like, this will be rejected right away. But I think about it, so let's talk in private. The other human can wait until I'm back." The Order players couldn't believe that such a ridiculous suggestions had worked for a higher being, and everyone immediately wondered how good the reward would be. The move to the forest, where there was no one. And the angel asked him, saying, "Why are you keeping such distance from me? I have to keep checking to make such you're there stay close." He replied, "Yeah, sure." The angel said silently, "These stupid humans, you always have to yell at them before they understand something. They're greedy as they are stupid, and how am I supposed to change the reward when I'm not even the one who choose the reward? Well, not that I would give him better rewards if I had the power to. He should just take what he can get. I'll teach him a lesson for being greedy. I'll kill you as soon as we're past that point. Of course, it's likely that it'll be a big problem if I can kill a player for personal reasons, especially if the player later complained to me about fairness. The higher-ups could blame me for basically running the game. So I need to make such there are no witnesses. Fucking stupid human. He should have just stayed up quiet." Then she turned around and said, "Now you wanted a reward, yes?" At no sooner had she finished the sentence, she immediately saw a fist in front of her face without giving her enough time to realize what was happening.
お前はもう死んでいる。